Hello and welcome to the Arsenal Bite Size Podcast. I'm your host Clayton at ClaytonsAFC on Twitter, here to do a nice short solo pod, basically welcoming the beautiful man that is Riccardo Calafiori to the Arsenal. Done, deal, signed, sealed, and delivered. So that was all completed last week, and as you know, people that listened yesterday to the introduction to season 3 and the interview with Rocky Nico, we're dusting off the cobwebs, so trying to ramp up the content, and I thought I'd just come in and do a nice short solo welcome to the Arsenal, to Riccardo Calafiori. I've got a few thoughts that I wanted to share, which is why I wanted to do this, more from like the tactical fit and his style of play and what we can expect, and how he may contribute to our team and in hopefully a very memorable campaign. The kind of highlights of him, it's apparently a deal that's a fee of up to 42 million, including add-ons, and I think that's absolutely brilliant business. Everything I'll talk about in terms of his profile, both defensively and offensively, on the ball, off the ball, he sounds like a bit of a unicorn. A lot of people obviously say Italians don't really leave Italy, and there was supposed interest from Juventus, even Real Madrid, I think I read somewhere. I can't quote sources on where I've got these from, but I'm sure I remember reading about Juventus in for him. Like I said, Real Madrid potentially. Chelsea, I think I read somewhere that were looking to kind of get involved last minute, but who are they not trying to hijack transfers from? But yeah, 22 years old. He suffered quite a bad injury at the age of 16. So for him to kind of bounce back, and I think he basically tore all the ligaments in one of his knees at the age of 16. And I think if you contextualize that, that's around the age where people are kind of looking to make that jump and get scholarships. And yeah, when I say make that jump, I mean make the jump from an academy player into getting like a first team pro contract. So that must have been devastating for him at that age. But he's obviously done incredibly well to bounce back, and he began his career at Roma, and he did have loan spells at Genoa and Basel, and before moving to Bologna, which is obviously where we've signed him from. But the reason I wanted to mention the kind of narrative around Italians leaving was he has left Italy before, so I think if you look at it from a like a psychological perspective, it's interesting. He's clearly someone that, despite being so young, he did leave Italy to go to Basel at quite a young age. So yeah, it's his second time leaving his home country, and yeah, he's done it before. So that was interesting. We don't really have many Italians that have played for the Arsenal, and a bit of trivia for you: if you can name the 4 previous players that have played for us, I will hesitate a few seconds so you can try and have a guess, but I will tell you them in a few seconds. But yeah, Calafiori becomes the 5th Italian who will eventually play for the club. And yeah, the other 4 that I've not actually got them in front of me, so there may be more, but the ones I remember are Arturo Lupoli, Victor Manoni, and I don't know if he counts Emiliano Viviano because he was a lone keeper, weren't he? And then obviously Jorginho and Calafiori were together in the Italian national team at Euro 2024. But yeah, it's really interesting that you see Calafiori saying that he obviously came to the Arsenal game against Crystal Palace in January. We won that one 5-0, I think. So obviously put on a bit of a clinic that day. I think we scored a couple of set pieces that game as well. So as a defender, he was probably licking his lips at that. But there's quite a nice video he's put together where he's literally just like in the stands, and he's kind of walking up through the Arsenal tube. He's got his phone in his hand, filming himself. Some guy behind him is just like it's giving the feeling of someone that's like judging him, like, who's this guy kind of filming himself, pretending he's an influencer or something. And little does that guy know he's going to end up cheering him on next season. So I've done a little bit about kind of his background and stuff. How did he do at Bologna? Very well. So this Bologna team, obviously, I think for the kind of tactical heads out there will know that they were one of the most hipster teams in Europe under Thiago Motta, who's gone to Juventus now. And they actually secured Champions League football for the first time in 60 years as well. So they had a very good season, and Calafiori had a big part to play in that. He played 30 times for Bologna. He got 2 goals and 5 assists. And what can we expect from him? So I think when I judge Arsenal players, like, you've heard all the buzzwords of like profiles and zones, not positions, and like don't judge them on the shirt number on the back, but like they are narratives and cliches for a reason, because I think that is exactly how Mikel Arteta is educating us on what he wants from this Arsenal team. And when I look at him, so I've got FBref open right now, which is like a brilliant, I think, open source database of metrics and data and everything. And I look at Riccardo Calafiori's scouting profile, and what it does, it puts like key statistical metrics in place, and it gives you that metrics per 90, and then it actually puts them in a percentile versus other players in their position. So as an example, assists is a metric. They'll tell you how many assists that player gets per 90, and it will rank them in a percentile across players in their position. I look at the stats that I'm interested in, and I contextualize this against what I said in a previous episode, I think 3 or 4 episodes ago, when I was basically, it was at the end of last season, basically talking about what I think Arsenal need for next season. And forget the position for a second. Forget if it's a defender, a midfielder, or an attacker. The one thing I said, well, okay, what everyone said is the left-hand side has been dysfunctional, right? Which is correct. The other thing I said was I thought Arsenal really lacked the ability to create transitions and drive through. I thought Declan Rice was really the only player that could do it from central areas with any credibility. I think Martinelli can do it when the environment around him is correct and there's the appropriate spacing. But in terms of someone to just get the ball and drag your team up 10, 15, 20 yards, I really think we were lacking that. And I was thinking of like a Musiala. People will say I'm deluded and I'm dreaming, but like that profile of player, whether it's attainable or not, I think in my head was exactly what I thought this Arsenal team could do with, because I think structurally in and out of possession, I think we've got to a point where even Arteta says the marginal gains are so small that I think it almost gets to a level where you can only really tweak minimalistic things to get that higher yielded output. And why I think having a player that can come in with the ability to carry is such a game changer for Arsenal is it creates chaos and it draws. I think when you're facing a deep block, which is what we do a lot, and you're a very pretty technical team like we can be, like we're powerful, we're physical as well, but I think more often than not, our route to goal is incisive passing movement, right? When you're faced with a deep block and you've then got someone that carries it, that invites 2-3 people out of position because they're drawn to that player, a Calafiori, who's driving with the ball. They get drawn to him, and then that creates space for other people. And I think something that we faced last season was a bit of, I don't know how to describe it. Just, it looked like we didn't really know where to go sometimes. And I'm talking 2-3 games. And again, that's how fine the margins are for us now with how good we are. But I think having someone like him who can come in, drive with the ball, attract players to him, create space for other players like an Odegaard, a Havertz, a Rice, a Partey on the ball behind him, a Martinelli, hopefully, on either side of him. If there's lots of talk of Moreno coming in at the minute. So, yeah, that's another player. But I think for me, it's fundamentally having someone that comes in, attracts players to the ball, creates overloads, and then there's a free man somewhere else. So, yeah, super exciting. The other thing I said was, in terms of the left-hand side dynamics, I wanted someone that can do basically what Ben White does from the right. On the left, I know we've seen Timber there, but I'm still not convinced Timber is the long-term solution at left back. I think Timber was signed with the intention of playing him everywhere across the back 4, back 3 in possession. Sometimes it's a 2-3. Again, it's a kind of re-educating ourselves on things and forgetting about set formations and positions. But I look at Calafiori and he can go inside, he can go out, he can drive centrally, he can hold the width, he can do everything. And coming back to the FBref profile, so the stats that I mentioned I'm interested in, passes attempted. So, okay, fair enough. He's ranked against centre-backs, so it would be interesting to see him against full-backs. So obviously take these metrics, not with a pinch of salt, but just add context to it. But passes attempted, he's in the 80th percentile. He was doing just shy of 70 per 90 minutes, that is. Passes completed, 89.6% per 90 minutes. 79th percentile. But then look at this. Progressive carries and take-ons, he's in the 81st and 92nd percentile. And off the ball, which is what we're always interested in, he's so front-footed. So I think everything about this Arsenal team is just front foot aggression, right? So both, I think we can be quite measured and controlled in build-up, but off the ball, Jesus Christ, everyone's very front-footed and aggressive to win the ball back. And in terms of interceptions, just shy of 2 interceptions per game, which puts him in the 96th percentile. Really exciting profile of player. And I think this is one of the first layers to start unlocking that left-hand side, so we can have that kind of synergy and symmetry like we have with White, Odegaard and Saka. It will come. It will take time, but what a phenomenal signing this is. And I think he will play off the left. I don't think he's coming in to play like the central centre-back role or in place of Gabriel. I think predominantly we'll see him as a left-back. And I say left-back in air quotes. Like, I don't think it will be a traditional inverted fullback. I think he's more than capable of doing it. But I think we're going to see him add a dimension, which is the ability to carry through. And we may see Declan Rice play as more of a 6 again this season. I know even that, I think it will be very fluid with what we do. But it's about adding a toolkit. Sorry, it's about adding a set of tools to our toolkit, which we don't really have. And the ability to drive and carry. And of course, he's bloody tall as well, isn't he? How tall is he? He is. Of course, I can't find it. I want to say he's like 6 foot or something though. But yeah, very exciting profile. And yeah, I'm just super excited to watch him actually play for us now and get the shirt on. And oh my God, he is a handsome bastard, isn't he? And yeah, just a couple of things as well before we get out of here. It's so nice. Before I do that, actually, I'll just shout out a few of the guys that are in. Uncle Mike, oi oi, R.I.P. Zinny. Yeah, we'll talk about that another time. Pontus is in. Hello, mate. Hope you're good. Uncle Mike says he's very excited about this signing, and Pontus says love it. Hope you're all good, guys. And yeah, Uncle Mike, good-looking fucker as well. Yes, he is. But yeah, I'm just super excited about this, and it's also really nice. I think when I look at where we were when Arteta took over and the sort of players we were going after and the noises around it, like you see the video that Arsenal posted where Calafiori's kind of hugging Arteta and he's like, is it real? And he said, like, my bags were packed, I was ready to come for ages. And we are one of the top 2-3 destinations for footballers at the minute. And like fans on Twitter will have their nonsense narratives and their biased agendas and stuff. But within the world of football, it is so clear to see where Arsenal are positioned and how we're perceived at the minute. And yeah, Mikel Arteta, what have you done to the club? But yeah, very excited by this signing. I think he adds another really interesting tactical layer and dimension to Arsenal. Like I said, the ability to go inside out, the ability to carry through, very comfortable on the ball. We're able to now, like, do you remember in that kind of January to March period where we flipped the dynamics and Kiwior was tucking in as a left centre-back? Gabriel, Saliba were the other two. White was inverting into fullback. I think we've got the ability now to do it from both sides consistently in game. And Arteta speaks a lot about kind of being our worst, being better than the opponent's best, and adapting and tweaking things in game. I think we've just got so much tactical fluidity that we're adding to this team that it's going to be a nightmare for teams to keep up with. And look at the defense we've got now, like in no particular order, just Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Kiwior, Zinchenko, Jurriën Timber. Like, it's absolutely absurd, the amount of talent there. And I know one or two could go, but let's deal with that when that happens. At the moment, it's just an unbelievably versatile defense that gives you a huge variety of profiles, all front-footed, all comfortable on the ball. And now adding someone that is comfortable carrying the ball through the thirds as well, which I think is something we've been lacking personally. So super excited. I don't think we're done yet. I think there will be another midfield addition. Lots of talks about Nketiah heading out of the door. Talks about Nelson going to Leicester have quietened down, but I don't know, if you look at it where we obviously got Calafiori in and it looks like Smith Rowe's on his way out. I think there's a lot of one in, one out at the minute. So I still think we'll get a couple more, and I'm super excited for Gabriel Martinelli this season. If we can fix that left-hand side, then yeah, that we are, as the kids say, we are cooking. But one thing I do want to say before we get off here on Zinchenko, I in the summer thought he'd be sold just because I think, from my perspective, I thought we were evolving into more of like the four centre backs mold, and having more like physical power than someone with Zinchenko, who I'd say his USP, his unique selling point is his technical ability alone, right? And he's quite good at interceptions and stuff, to be fair. But I thought we were evolving away from that. But I don't know. There's not that much rumours about him. So is he a player that can contribute in certain games against certain opposition? Absolutely. I think there's certain games where we kind of play some of the smaller teams with respect to them at home, and we're going to have 60 to 80% possession. They're not really going to threaten too much. I think deep blocks, Zinchenko, of course, has a part to play. So it's a squad game, right? And even Jurriën Timber, I think he is someone that I personally think he's got the quality to kind of take a shirt and stick in the team. But he's returning from an ACL. He didn't play last night against Liverpool because he's played 2 games in pre-season already. So I think it's very much a managing minutes, sharing the load. We got a little bit lucky with Saliba, Gabriel, and White's availability. White over 2-3 seasons now. So I think it's about taking, I don't think there'll be mass rotation, but I think it'll be in between what we did last season and what City do, where they rotate their defence. I don't think we'll quite rotate our defence to the level they do, but I do think there'll be a little bit more chopping and changing, maybe 60, 30-minute loads sharing here and there. But yeah, very excited by this profile. I think he, in my opinion, as much as I'm saying there'll be 1 or 2 chopping and changing, lots of sharing 60 minutes, 30 minutes, I think he will become a staple in the team personally. I really do. Whether that happens from game week 1, I'm not sure, but brilliant signing. I would love to know how our recruitment is done, because obviously we went through a big change behind the scenes, didn't we? Where we got rid of like Misseltat and lots of the scouting network and stuff. I'd love to know now how it's actually done, because the ability to pluck a specific profile and kind of place them exactly how Arteta wants them, it's kind of ludicrous, to be honest. But yeah, that's me over and done. If you've enjoyed this, like nice short 15, 20 minutes, just wanted to welcome this beautiful bastard to the Arsenal. So yeah, like I said, a tactical profile I'm very excited about. So if you've enjoyed it, please drop the stream a like, hit the subscribe button if you're new around here, and yeah, catch up with you guys in a bit. We'll be looking to do a couple more bits and bobs next week. Obviously, Arsenal play Leverkusen and Lyon before the season starts, and we've got Wolves at home. So yeah, we'll be doing a couple of bits and bobs. If we get someone in, we'll obviously do a piece on them, but it's looking to kick off soon. And next weekend, I believe, Nima and I will do our kind of season preview the season, our expectations, predictions, all of that good stuff before we preview the Wolves game. Not long now, and I cannot wait. Up the Arsenal. Cheers, everyone.